Hello everybody, and welcome back to the M99 GRAFX ARCA series here at the Backmarkers Racing League. Tonight we are here at Watkins Glen Road Course for the PaintInTheGrass.com 150. And of course, as you know, all of these races couldn't be put together without our sponsors. So want to give a huge shout out, of course, to the league sponsor M99 GRAFX. And of course, want to also give the shout out to Paint in the Grass Paint the Grass is a lawn service to keep your grass green any time of the year in Southern California. It's non-toxic and pet-friendly and will make your home stand out above the rest. To find out more, please visit www.paintinthegrass.com. And as always, a big thank you to Extreme Sim TV for hosting our races. If you wouldn't mind, please go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can see all of the action every week as we present it to you. But here we are, starting up as we come into qualifying for Watkins Glen here at the Paint the Grass 150. I'm Rain Braun, joined by broadcast colleague Tyler Barnett, our Season 1 ARCA champion. Tyler, how you doing today?
I'm not too bad. I'm really excited to be back out here up in the booth and watching these boys go around the track. I mean, 2 weeks felt like forever, man. And especially after that last race that we had, we let all the tempers kind of sizzle out, and everyone's excited for this race. Even though a lot of people aren't, super into road courses or they struggle with them, everyone seemed to be optimistic about it. And I mean, we got a big showing out here. We got 25, it looks like.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, it looks like.
yeah, out the gate swinging.
So, I mean, of course, we've done 3 races so far this season that have been points races. Of course, we opened with the Round Here Entertainment 150 at Daytona, and then we followed that up by heading out to Atlanta for the RC Shark Bodies 125. And then, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, before we took our break for the holiday winter break, we were at North Wilkesboro for the 60 Feet 6 Foundation 160. Now we're back here with Paint the Grass 150 at Watkins Glen. Those 3 were all ovals, speedway, super speedway, short track, and here we are with a new track altogether, the road course. Tyler, you know plenty about driving these cars, and you know plenty about setting out road courses. You, in fact, drove the fastest time in all of practice, not too far off our current, leader in the pole position, but, tell us a little bit about the difference of this car and the handling and how it feels to drive somewhere like the Glen.
Well, Watkins Glen is it looks very simple, very, very cookie cutter, like 90-degree corners, big looping corners, and then the bus stop obviously is going to be a little different, but a little bit of elevation change. It just seems like a simple road course, but it's really not. These cars are so slippery here. I mean, really anywhere in these cars, you're going to be burning the right rear off more than anything, and sorry, both the rear tires, I'm too used to talking oval lingo, but yeah, you're gonna be burning the rear tires off so much with these cars, more than you expect, and it's gonna be really tricky up in spots like the S's and the bus stop, as well as the carousel too. Those are the 3 most difficult parts of the track because you don't have much runoff. If you start spinning out, you're either hitting a wall, or you're going flipping, or you're going in front of the field. There is not much you can do if you start losing it through there.
Absolutely, and I mean, currently the track temperature looks to be about 101 degrees Fahrenheit. How's that going to fare on everybody's tires and keeping this thing on the track?
So those that are seasoned at road courses are definitely going to be rising towards the top. 100 and something degrees. It's going to rise throughout the day, obviously, throughout the race. And it's going to make those rear tires start burning, start scorching hot, especially if you burn them up early. If you get a little bit loose and start spinning them, then you're going to be miserable. Obviously, there's a competition caution, and we have 2 sets of tires. But still, you don't want to burn them off too quickly because then your lap times will start to drop. But otherwise, it's just going to make it slick, going to make these cars a little bit freer, and it's going to be fun to watching these guys slide around the corners. I mean, stock cars around road courses are nothing like these GT3s or like open-wheeled cars. They have way less grip. They may be a lot slower, but you got to wheel them. That is for sure. It takes a special kind of person to take one of these really fast, and I mean, you got to look at Dustin Bally. He's very, very seasoned on road courses, the highest IR in the group, and he just ran a 12.6 for qualifying. He was ripping it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, as we follow along with Austin Holbrook here, as we get in, we're finishing up qualifying. Go ahead and pull up our current standings and our initial polls that we have here. So we go ahead and get that reloaded up. I mean, if you're on board here with Austin, let's take a look. I mean, you see what he's doing on this. Is there any part of this track? Well, it sounds like he actually just powered it down, but that's all right.
Hey, I mean, Blake looks like he's ripping right now.
Yeah, he's ripping. So tell us a little bit about the different places. It looks like he's coming out now. A little bit loose there. Oh, and a little bit of tag on the wall. Not anything too bad, but that's definitely going to hurt him in the race. Another big thing, of course, is going off track. We don't want to end up going off track anywhere here. We do have incident points that we have an incident point limit, and anybody who's going to cap that could look at being themselves DQ'd. So it's going to be a really important thing for people to take a step back, compose themselves. If they feel themselves getting a little too heated, their tires getting a little too hot, they're spinning out, they find themselves in the grass, they need to take a moment and they need to wind it in for a minute. That way they don't end up not being able to finish this race.
Yeah, that's definitely another new aspect of this series that people are going to have to be weary of. And it's very, very easy to let those 1Xs stack going off track because the track limits here, they are they're really close to those rumble strips there. So in turn one, if you put a full car length off of those rumble strips, like your right side tires just past the what's it called, the left edge, then you're going to get a 1X, and those are going to stack up. Considering the race is only 24 laps, you only have 16 chances, so it adds up quickly.
Absolutely. Just did an audio check there. I heard Tyler was a bit loud from what I could tell, but went ahead and pulled him down a little bit. I'll be monitoring that as we start getting out here. But man, what an incredible, incredible start we've got going on already. Let's take a look at this starting grid before we get started here.
Yeah, we got Dustin Bolly sitting on the pole. It's going to be his second pole of the season, and he's been proven to be a championship contender, especially with these two road courses. He's very, very solid, like we said earlier. But in second
Absolutely.
place, going to be Jacob Bradley. Jacob Bradley, overall, very solid race car driver, and running a 12.84. He's not too far off. If Dustin makes a mistake, he's going to be right there. And tenths here, they are relatively short in comparison to a like 1.5 mile track. Like a tenth here is like a car length and a half, maybe.
Now, of course, following up Jacob Bradley, we have Jay Bass, teammate of Dustin Bolly and Off the Wall Racing. I mean, there's not really such a thing as drafting that we're really going to see on something like a road course, or not anything that would make a difference. So, what can a team do in in a situation like this, where they be lining up behind each other to kind of support one another to maybe break away and fend everybody else off?
Well, Logan and I did something like that in the super late models here. We just got nose to tail really quickly, and from there we just kept the tires under each other. We promised not to pass each other unless somebody made a big mistake, and from there we just let the other person pass. So just stuck nose to tail, and even if the other person was a slight bit faster, but was going to be a battle to pass them, then we just had mutual respect and either followed or let the other person pass. So got to do something like that. Get out front, go get a gap going, follow the faster person, and from there, then you guys can battle later on in the race. But with that competition caution, that is going to be a big factor. So with that, let me ask you, there are three strategies that you could choose. You could either pit going from a lap 6 to lap 7, you could pit on lap 10 after the caution, or you could just not pit at all. Road course, obviously, track position is going to be king. What do you think?
Personally, I think an early pit would not hurt anybody in this scenario. I mean, when we take a look at coming up to a competition caution at, lap 10, if you're in a position, maybe not necessarily someone out with the leaders, but, I was talking with some guys earlier who were kind of discussing a similar thing. And the big question is, will it be better to stay out and gain that position during that competition caution when most people will probably pull in? But the fact that I've heard it from multiple people almost makes me wonder if everybody will be following a similar strategy, and if it's going to be a few lucky people who manage to keep their way out. Regardless, I don't know that this, top 5, top 7 even, are going to be able to be held off by anybody who ends up staying out, just on account of how incredibly fast and skilled these this top 5 to top 10 drivers have shown themselves to be. The proficiency in Dustin Bolly and Jacob Bradley, Jay Bass and Logan Monty, Adam Boyle's even coming up here, and Michael Boyles. Michael Boyle showed an amazing run in some of the practice races leading up to this. And of course, Jackson Samsel, who loves himself a road course, looking to get some redemption from last season in Sonoma when he got punted by Steve Loving coming around, losing his podium position. I mean, these are all incredible, incredible contenders right there, rounding it out, all pretty similar in time. So really, there's no telling who's going to end up really coming out on top in it. But I don't think strategy is going to play the biggest of differences here. I think everybody's going to have a pretty similar chance regardless of where they end up pitting, just because, like I said, the competition is so steep at the top of this split already.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just going to be up in the air, especially for that top 7. And look at Carter Dyson. He's up into 8th. The vacuum man, he had a good qualifying run. Same with Austin. A lot of these guys are like, I'm not the best at road courses, and they'll put a top 10 lap in, especially Tanner Prater too, the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a pretty stacked field today, and I feel like if something happens to the leaders, knock on wood that it doesn't happen,
Absolutely.
but if something happens to those really, really fast guys up front, then this race is way up in the air.
As we take a look here, they're coming up on going through the S's. I mean, this is, of all the places on this track, you know, the 90-degree turn in turn 1, the S is coming out of it, the bus stop, the carousel, heading down into turn 6, coming out of turn 7. Which part of this track do you foresee being the biggest hurdle for some of these drivers?
Definitely going to be the S's. When the car reaches the top of the S's, it gets so slippery that when you have to run a fast lap, you're pretty much turning right before the car or before the track even starts turning right. So you're going to be ripping it. You're going to hear those tires screech, and you may be burning that rear a little bit, but it's worth it, and it's a lot faster. So you're going to have to, pardon my French, but you're going to have to nut up, and you're going to have to send it through there. But it's going to be a very, very talent distinct area, to say the least.
As we look at Dustin Bally, he won Atlanta, and of course, following up there, not too far behind, Logan Monteith, who won the season opener at Daytona, and then just behind Logan Monteith, we have Adam Boyles, the winner of the last race at North Wilkesboro. I mean, all up here in the top 5, we have our 3 winners so far this season. It's definitely showing that these guys really know what they're doing behind the wheel. We also have a newcomer joining the crew this tonight in the 69 car, Anthony Cangelosi. He's making his first start here in his rookie season at ARCA. It's interesting getting your first start on a road course. I mean, would you recommend starting on a road course, Tyler?
If you're not a specialist in road courses, probably not, but I mean, I gotta respect it. But we're gonna take the green flag here, and it is gonna be Dustin Bally already clearing the 50 car, and he is going to be sending it down to the turn 1. Jay Bass looking towards the inside, and it looks like everyone's getting through it pretty cleanly. Yeah, everyone takes it easy, everyone gets through clean.
Good to see. Yeah. I mean, I expect we're going to see some spins. I expect we're probably going to see some contact. That's just the way of the race. But everybody was pretty much talking the same thing. They want to see this thing. You know, it's not necessarily it's local cautions, if I'm correct on that. Your race admin on this. So,
Right.
But with it being local cautions, it's not really going to affect the field. But you don't want to see it affect other drivers. So, I mean, going into just coming off of that concept, everybody's going to be giving each other some room, taking some time. I imagine we'll see some beating probably after the stage break, where we're going to end up, you know, seeing people really
we
fighting
have
for
a
position.
spin, the 69 car. It's going to be Anthony spinning after the bus stop, and he's going to keep it clean. It looked like Michael had some problems too beforehand. But like you said, there's going to be some spinners, but it looks pretty clean so far. Everybody looking to get settled in, ready to go.
And, you know, I was talking to Anthony while he was doing practice races over the winter break with the rest of the group, and, you know, he was having some trouble as he spins again. This is a section of the track he was having a little bit of trouble in, and I think his worst enemy was he felt like he did a lot better when the track was a little bit cooler. So he's going to go ahead and try to back himself out and give it a try. Definitely going to be some frustration setting in there, but nothing to get too overzealous about. Let's go ahead and try to keep running this race, you know, keep doing the best they can. Of course, we do have some important aspects that we should discuss in regards to penalties from last race. I don't have that in front of me here, but if you could take a look so we can report. I know that Charles Broderick did start with an EOL. He started at the back of the pack this evening, as well as Connor Morse on a one-race suspension for his aggressive driving. He will be back for the race next week at Darlington, which is our throwback race. And did we have anybody else that had started with an EOL or any penalties?
No, not this week. Everyone just really got a warning saying to shape it up, and I think that people seeing Connor Morse being suspended for a week, I think they're going to realize that we're taking it seriously now, and people are going to start cleaning it up. I mean, it's been looking good so far. But Jay Bass looking strong in second. He was running down Dustin a little bit. He got to his right, or he got right to his bumper actually, going in to the S's.
Absolutely.
But after that, got a little bit loose going through the carousel. Not a nice save, but he's right back on him. I think Dustin may be trying to back off a little bit, trying to keep those tires under him. But Jay Bass, man, he's looking fast, especially in that first sector of the track.
And hey, you know, another thing to notice there is all 5 of those top 5 competitors really didn't go too far into that overrun section off of that turn. They all kept it pretty tight, kept their brakes pretty tight, and ended up really not really going for a send there. They really save it for coming through the the bus stop here and sending it through that. They have a pretty good control managing to keep the car running that direction. Dustin Bally really seems to find his strength right in and around that area, because that's when he puts major separation between him and Jay Bass.
Yeah, definitely. This is pretty interesting. You can see definitely Jay Bass is a little faster the first sector, but as soon as you hit that bus stop, Bali is pulling away. But it seems like it goes right back to normal. It seems like they're not gaining much on each other
We
throughout
have a pretty big
each
gap.
sector of the lap.
We have a pretty big gap between 3rd and 4th. Jacob Bradley about 2 seconds ahead of Logan Monteith. I'm sure Logan will end up making up that time. But the gap behind Logan to Michael Boyles is 4 seconds. I mean, there's a pretty big drop off here in terms of what the top competition is for this top split. I mean, we kind of talked about this. It just shows how all the more impressive it is that these drivers in Jay Bast and Jacob Bradley and Logan Monteith are keeping as close as they are. And it looks like we have Clifton Simmons.
Yeah, it looks like that left front is done. That suspension is caked on that car. He's going to most likely have to go tow. I know he is so close to that pit road, unfortunately. But, man, and it's really unfortunate for Clifton. He just hasn't been able to get things going the right way.
He tagged Dave Grajewski just a little bit out of that. He ended up holding.
Yeah.
He didn't realize Charles Broderick was coming along, almost scared Charles sliding out. Charles, you know, talking about Charles Broderick, we were, you know, as his team owner, we were talking a lot in the lead up to this race and what his goal is for this. And, you know, he's a guy who's really just trying to show improvement. He has no mistakes about where he lies in terms of the competition. He just really wants to run and get better. And so, you know, I told him, hey, don't try beating and banging this car. Give yourself room. If you feel like you're overdriving it, take some time off. It's better to finish this race than to not finish it at all.
And that's a lot of what he did last season to put him near top 10 in points. I mean, he just kept his nose clean. He stayed out of it. Even if he wasn't the fastest guy in the group, he would still be up here somehow, some way. He finished almost inside the top 10. I know he had like 2 or 3 11th place finishes, so everybody loves him personally. Charles is a good guy, and we all want to see him improve, and I think he's doing just that. Daytona, he definitely showed a lot of improvement. Obviously, Atlanta's a difficult track, but still, he didn't do bad.
As we head back to the front pack here, I mean, I imagine we're not seeing a whole lot of changes, so we'll keep an eye on the splits here. But do you see any other close competition occurring anywhere else on the track right now? It looks like the fight around 9th and 10th, Carter Dyson, Brady Power, Steve Loving, all pretty close in contention with one another. Carter Dyson getting real close on Jackson Samsel. Jackson manages to pull himself away a good bit. He gets a pretty good run off of most of these corners. I mean, as we've talked about before, Jackson is pretty proficient on these road courses as well. Tell us a little bit more about, you know, his capabilities and what you expect to see from him as his team owner.
Well, I mean, Jackson and I, we started this league, and I obviously have a lot of faith in him to help me run the league, but also driving ability. He's young. He's only 14 years old, and he's pretty solid, man. Like, he obviously has the 14-year-old tendencies of, you know, getting a little too aggressive or impatient or something. Oh,
Nathan Gentry
almost takes out the 15 as Carter spins it. He spins it by himself towards the inside wall. Oh, no. Poor Carter. He was on a good run, too.
Nathan Gentry had an incident. He went off track a bit. He ended up crashing into the wall. What you just said, Carter Dyson. Need to take a look back here. See where exactly that happened.
Carter had something happen to him, or just Jacob Bradley. Sorry, I'm just flabbergasted. Everything happened at once. So it looks like Dustin Bally made a mistake. Dustin Bally made a mistake, and it looks like did he hit the wall? Something happened because he is no longer in the lead, it looks like.
He isn't. It looks like it. He may have ended up overdriving a corner a little bit. It's not surprising to see Jay be able to take a little bit of a lead off of him. I mean, like we said before, and it looks like Jacob Bradley going in for the pit. Is this that strategy we were talking about here? But Dustin Bally, of course, you know, he'll end up taking this opportunity to run it down. But these two being teammates, they're more of the competitive spirit. They want to beat each other, of course, but they are working together no matter what to try to get themselves both up here in this top 2 to try to really make some big strides for their team, you know, their win. will we be able to see Jay Bast and we'll have our 4th different winner this season, or will we have a repeat, our first repeat winner in Dustin Bali? We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, this is crazy. If we can have 4 races and 4 winners, this championship is going to be so up for grabs. It's not even funny because we still have another like 3 or 4 people that can win a race like solidly, solidify to win. And then not only that, but we have another 3 or 4 people that can also have a good chance at winning a race, especially if it's a track combo they're good with.
A couple of people have pitted here. We have Tanner Prater is pitted. Brady Powers, as we mentioned. Nathan Gentry had to pit off of his damage. And also another fact to mention, we have Anthony Cangelosi. He ended up getting his fast repair and has been back on track, making his way back up, trying to get himself back on. It looks like he may be getting close to getting back on the same lap as everybody else here pretty soon. And Clifton Simmons just down 1. It makes you wonder. Carter Dyson really with some damage, made his way all the way around. Very impressive. But it makes you wonder what the strategy is going to be for these top guys. I mean, I can imagine Logan Monteith sees the gap between him and these 2 Pontiacs and is wondering, man, when are they going to pit in so I can get ahead of them and get a lap led?
Right, and pit road closed now, so Carter down pit road, obviously due to damage fixing, he's going to get a black flag cleared. But, man, this is going to be crazy. We saw a lot of people pit. We saw a lot of people not pit.
Oh,
it's going to
Jay riding up on his teammate here. Charles needing to bop out the way. Oh, he gets turned!
No! Oh, no.
Jay Bass turns him. It looks like he just really didn't feel like he had anywhere to go. He couldn't stop coming through that bus stop. Ended up turning him. If I had to guess, that was probably a situation where Charles said, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but, I mean, you're coming through that bus stop so fast. It's
if
so
you stop, it's
precise.
a spin and catching everybody else.
Right. You are going to have to be so precise going through that bus stop, and if there's another car near you going a little bit slower than you, you're running into them. There's not much you can do about it. You have to be super observant, and especially if you're running J Bass speed right now, it's going to be, it's not going to be fun if you're the car in front of him.
It looks like Charles did try to stay to the right of the track, but Jay just didn't have enough clearance and ended up catching him on the rear left side. And it looks like another incident. Anthony Cangelosi may have also spun again coming out of this 90-degree turn. We'll have to take a look here. That is definitely a spot to get way too loose and overdrive it on. He spins it. Did he manage to hit anything? He manages to save it, actually. Pulls himself off the track to make sure nobody's coming, and he remerges when nobody's there. That's good stuff. Brilliant save at that point as the leaders were closing on him. And Jay Bass now looking, as we're on board with Jay, looking to pass Anthony. And Anthony gives him room and lets the leaders by.
All right, and the caution will be coming out, too, as soon as Jay Bass crossed the line.
Jay Bass and Dustin Bali are getting really close here. Jay took it kind of wide. Dustin said, I'm going to try to capitalize right now. And Jay shut the door on him, tried to hold him back. It is very close here. And let's not forget, we cannot leave out the fact that we have a battle also going back here for Logan Monteith and Michael Boyles, as they are coming to that first competition caution. And everybody's going to be riding around. It looked like we did have a couple of people who ended up making that early pit. But as we said before, 15 laps to go. If these guys are going to pit and get better tires, do you think they're going to be able to make up the ground on the people who did, in fact, pit already?
That's a good question. So what I do think is that if you saved your tires and you managed them pretty well, I don't think Jay Bass did, nor did Dustin Bali. I think you'd be okay, but these guys are going to have to pit. But I think on new tires, they're going to be ripping. They're going to be confident. They're going to be showing some swagger going through the field, and they're going to show them why that these guys are 1-2 right now.
Yes, indeed, as we come around and take a look here. Rounding out this top 5 here as we look, as we're in this competition caution. For some reason, my my grid does not want to display this evening, but we'll just keep using the tower. That's fine. Jay Bass, followed by Dustin Bali, Logan Monteith, Michael Boyles, and Adam Boyles round out our top 5. Followed by Austin Holbrook, who is also a teammate to Jay Bass and Dustin Bali. Followed by Jackson Samsel. Steve Loving finally creeping his way up into that top 10, making a steady pace up to that top 5. followed by Blake Hoppy and Peter Stewart. And that is our top 10 currently. So when can they end up going in for that pit at this point? Is it going to be on this next time around?
Yep, when everybody's behind the pace car, pit road will be reopened. So from there on out, it's gonna be a show, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. It's unfortunate that it's going to be 14 to go. It makes you wonder. I mean, if Jay Bass and Dustin Bally are feeling pretty confident with how they're running, and they were outrunning people who did have better tires already at this point, who were, you know, coming up, do they take this pit? They don't need the fuel. This isn't a fuel mileage race.
Right.
If you were in this position, Tyler, if you were in this position, you've run this track, you know, plenty. Like we said, you ended up setting the fastest time, only a couple tenths faster than Dustin Bally's. If you were in this position of the leaders here, would you end up taking this pit, or would you take your chances and keep running, since you know that you're outrunning third place by 3-4 seconds without any fall off?
So looking at the lap times, they fell off about 2 seconds or so. A little under 2 seconds, it looks like. Yes, give me 1 second.
So that could be just enough time within 14 laps to
make
open.
A big difference. Yeah, I think it could be. I think that this fall off is going to be about a second every 2 laps or so. That's what it's looking like on the lap times right here. Maybe every 3 laps or so. But once you start getting down into the 116s, 117s, then it's going to be easy pickings for those guys on new tires. Yep, pit road is open. Sorry, talking to the boys here.
And looks like Jay Bast is diving down pit road. As is Dustin Bally, Logan Monteith, Blake Hoppy, Adam Boyles. The entire top 5 is, in fact, finding their way down pit road at this point.
Ooh. Jackson was really close to almost staying out.
Jackson Samsel, Steve Loving, Blake Hoppy here, Michael Boyles, Brian Brobst. Looks like we have a report of an incident. Brian Brobst. Let's see what happened here. Did he end up catching somebody? Did he...
And would you look at that? Look who stayed out. They pitted a little earlier, but it's going to be Jacob Bradley, the outside pole sitter. He's going to be up into first. And let's look at his lap times. So before the caution came out, he was running 114s, and then a 115 was his best lap right after that. So it's not too far off of what the other guys were doing on old tires. So this is going to be interesting. But look at that. Mach 1 Racing, 1-2.
Yeah, 1-2. I was about to say, don't forget who's behind him. Brady Powers, his teammate, running here just behind him. And it looks like, are they in fact stacking up the lapped car in the front here?
It should send him around pretty quickly. We still got the pace car lights on, so should be okay here. But I'm going to reiterate some to the drivers real quick. Give me 1 second.
And as we get settled in here, just take a moment and want to thank our sponsor once again here at Watkins Glen. This is the PaintingTheGrass.com 150. PaintingTheGrass.com is a lawn service to keep your grass green any time of the year in Southern California. It's non-toxic and pet-friendly and will make your home stand out above the rest. If you want to find out more, please do visit www.paintinthegrass.com. That is paintinthegrass.com. And of course, if you're new here and you're tuning in, you like what you see, make sure to give a subscribe to the channel. Next week will be our throwback race, a Throwback 133 presented by HomeSmart Evergreen Realty at Darlington Raceway. And this is going to be a fun one. A lot of people have been submitting their throwback schemes that they put together. There's a contest going on within the league to vote for everybody's favorite, their favorite livery that they've got putting out. Everybody's putting on their best show up for this race, so you make sure to show up too and give them your support.
Yeah, let's get Jackson in the booth real quick. I don't think we've talked to him very much this season, so let's get him up into the booth.
I'd have thought I would have talked to Jackson enough last week, but yeah, let's do it.
That's true. Well, I wasn't there, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, we got the now racer, not broadcaster this week, Jackson Samsel up in the booth. You got us?
I do have you.
Awesome, finally. I tried to talk to you at Atlanta once, and you didn't talk back to us, so you were just ignoring us, obviously. And
Hmm.
then, obviously, you helped broadcast while I was gone, so now you got both of us up in here. How you feeling?
Well, my plan was this caution was to I was gonna stay out if everyone in front of me pit, and I saw Charles, who was a lap down. I saw him on the racetrack, and I thought he was a lead lap car, so I came in the pits, which kind of ruined my strategy because I was gonna try and help out the off the wall guys and hold up the two Mach 1 drivers, but that plan kind of foiled. But otherwise, my race has been pretty good. Started 7th to now 10th, so try and get back up there.
I mean, otherwise, though, it looked like you were good on speed. Obviously, 2 cars stayed out, but you looked pretty quick up there, dude. I was watching you. You were running up in 7th. You were outrunning Carter, who was looking pretty solid until he hit the wall, but...
Hmm.
So, what's your expectation for the rest of this race? What are you thinking?
Well, I know I'm pretty good on the short run here, so I'm going to try and extend my speed as much as possible and get in front of the guys I know are quicker than me and try and hold them off for the next 10 laps.
All right. Well, good luck, sir, and I will bring you back to your team.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. That was Jackson Samsel right there. I mean, good road racer like we were talking about earlier. I could definitely see him sneaking up there with at least a top 5. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Racer for sure. He is a favorite of mine to place himself in a top 5 here for sure. I've been calling it all for the past 3 weeks. I've rounded out my top 5, and we're seeing very similar names up there that I had made my predictions for. The only one that hasn't crept up there is Steve Loving, who I did think would be a lot higher at this point. But I mean, to be fair to Steve, while he's an incredible racer, he is facing some pretty stiff competition, as is everybody else. But another factor to mention, that incident last season, as it looks like the pace car dives off. We're going green, boys. But once again, talking about that, Steve Loving, Jackson Samsel had the incident last season at Sonoma. I mean, can you imagine seeing, these two manage to coexist with that kind of ability there? I mean, Jackson's already flying up past Austin Holbrook, really coming in close on Adam Boyles. Let's just follow him here as he comes in. Going for an incredible pass. He's already making up major spots here. And would you look at the change in landscape in the front? Jay Bass making a huge pass on Brady Powers.
Wow.
Really was going for it there. He had a head of steam and he was running. What did we say? These guys, these fresh tires, maybe they're going to make the difference. Maybe they're, they're going to end up catching up here. It did not take long for these two to shoot right back up to competition, as he gets right on the rear of Brady Powers.
Oh, he's going to dive. He's going to make a dive.
He's going in for the inside turn, and it's too late. Jay Bass running right past him, heading into P2 as he's trying to close the gap on Jacob Bradley. Dustin Bally soon to follow.
This race just got really interesting.
And
so
who
Jacob
else is up
Bradley
here?
got a huge gap. He got a huge gap early on, and that gap clocked in at 2.1 seconds. We're going to see if he can run that down. He's going to have to run over a 10th a lap to catch him, but I can see him doing it. This is going to be crazy, especially on those new tires. He ran about a lap and a half on those older tires, Jacob did, so he's going to be about a second off the pace at first.
And let's look who else is here. Tanner Prater manages to get himself all the way up into the top 5, and he is running real competitive here behind Brady Powers. Dustin Bally has passed him. It is a 1-2 once again. Mach 1 has been split. It's only a matter of time to tell whether those guys in the off-the-wall cars are going to be able to catch those Mach 1 drivers, or driver in this case. You wonder if there is some strategy there of maybe having Brady Powers help fend them off a little bit to give a little bit of room to Jacob Bradley.
I definitely think so. I definitely think they play a lot of smart team orders. They are very, very close. It seems like close friends, that is. And I think that they both knew that Brady wasn't as fast as Jacob on this track right here in this combo. But he was fast enough to hold him up for about 2.1 seconds. But we're going to see what this gap is coming to the line. Dustin Bally getting around Brady too. So that's going to be an off the wall 2-3 right now. Let's going to see if they can make it a 1-2.
And as we look back, we're having a fight. Michael Boyles making a big pass on Tanner Prater right now, and Logan Monteith's slowly making his climb back up. Logan is very much so a guy who kind of waits. Oh, a little bit of contact. Michael Boyles gets a little bit of contact off of Tanner Prater there as he goes for the pass. Logan Monteith is going to fall in line, take advantage of this situation, try to pass the 14. He doesn't quite eke it out. Logan, as we were saying, he's an incredible driver. He's a dirt racer. He's definitely good on road courses. He's a guy who bides his time, and when the moment's right, he strikes and takes advantage. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him make some big moves in the last few laps that we're going to have here.
Yeah, definitely. I could see him getting way up inside that top 5, if not even a top 3 possibly. But that gap went down to 1.7 last time around, so we're going to see what it is this time around. I think they're both getting closer. Dustin Bally looking like he's pulling in Jay Bass a little bit. But we're going to see if those team orders come into effect, too, between you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you for sure what the orders were. It was very simple. Jay, Dustin, 1-2.
Well, I appreciate that, and I mean, it'd be pretty cool to see 4 different winners, but if Dustin is that much faster than Jay, then it's going to be pretty interesting. The gap down to 1.5, so he only gained 2/10 that lap, and we are obviously way less than 10 to go, but
With
I
8
wonder
to go,
how
as a
it's going
matter
to
of
turn out.
out.
Yeah,
I mean, it is incredible. I mean, Jacob Bradley has definitely earned the way of the place he's in, especially with the help Brady Powers did end up giving him to help slow this pack down, this hard charger in Jay Bass. I mean, Jacob Bradley has shown that he's incredible. I mean, he only had one not so great finish, and it was because his sim died as we went to interview him. So we no longer pull him into the booth for fear of ruining his day.
Yeah, definitely. That was a bad moment, and we are not going to blame ourselves for that one. Our technology is top tier. We are definitely not primal, and we are definitely not new at this, so don't worry about it, fellas. It is not on us. We are going to blame AT&T, even if that is not his provider. We are sponsored by Verizon. Just kidding,
Yes,
we are
there
not.
it is. And look at this. The
We have a
gap has
wreck on the front
closed
straight.
already. Dustin has really closed the gap. Oh, Anthony manages to keep it out.
That gap down to 1 second, though. He's right there.
Anthony's getting himself off the side of the track. Oh, Jackson Samsel really went for the high line there. Almost got himself caught, but thankfully Anthony was trying to go real slow to make sure everybody had a chance to get around him. Once again, you know, it's unfortunate he's in a situation where he's, you know, new to a road course, you know, new to iRacing in general. But, you know, he's done really well trying to keep himself out of other people, and that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, I mean, his awareness is great
Tanner
there.
Prater!
He saw the...
Something's happened to Tanner
Oh,
Prater.
Oh, you're right. Where did he go?
Where did he go?
It looks like
He's just pitted.
Oh, no.
I can't see what happened.
What did he do?
I'm unsure.
Oh, he got dumped by Logan.
Really?
It looks like.
Oh,
Either that or
man.
he got super squirrely.
That's unfortunate. So we head back, taking a look. This gap is closing, and it's closing fast. Jay Bass is like a bat out of hell, closing in on Jacob Bradley right here. There is definitely going to be a dogfight here in these closing laps. Is Jacob Bradley going to be able to fend him off, or is he going to fall in line and accept a top 3 podium position at this point? Because they are gone. Michael Boyles is 7 seconds away from these guys. This is a top split if I've ever seen one. I mean,
It is.
what an incredible competition. Look at the control on Dustin Bally. Just the way he came around there on that corner. His rear end gets away from him, and it doesn't affect him at all. It looked like he got speed off of it almost.
I mean, if you can play those rear tires just right and get that grip down while playing with a lot of throttle, then you should be good. But, man, that gap got down to 0.6 of a second and increased right away. So it looks like Jay made a tiny little mistake somewhere, or the other two just got real fast real quick. But Jay Bass right back on him, and I just went back and looked at it, so it looks like Tanner Prater just got a little bit loose and centered down the pit road, got a speeding penalty most likely, and decided to call it quits from there. He was having a good run, so he's probably bummed out, but at least he can look back on that and said he was running inside the top 5 here, and he's got another road course to look forward to.
Absolutely. Abraham Kalufa, an incident looked like occurred there. Haven't been able to pull that up yet as we're trying to focus
Jacob
really
Bradley
hard.
sideways through that little short shoot right there. He was super sideways, and he's going to be burning those rears off. Same with Jay Bass. He was sideways coming out of the corner.
Jay!
Gets loose.
Jay gets really loose. Dustin Bally moving past him. Jay charging right back, trying to get in line. Is Dustin going to be able to make this close of the gap here? 5 to go here at Watkins Glen at the Pain in the Grass .com 150. I mean, we're looking at an incredible competition in these top 3. It's unfortunate that we can't really pivot away to too many other people. There's just so much going on so quickly. There's got to be some other competition we're taking a look at here. Do you see anybody else with a good fight going on?
I was locked in on that first through third battle right there. That was incredible, and I think that it's going to be real close at the end. It's definitely giving me some Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Marcus Ambrose vibes.
Look at the gap. Dustin is closing that gap massively. He has that bus stop not locked down. I think he just made up somewhere around like 3/4 tenths of a second just there alone.
Minimum. He is flying right now. And like I said, dude, this is reminding me of that Marcus Ambrose, Brad Keselowski battle with Kyle Busch too. So we can get another barn burner here.
This is one of those really cool finishes that ends up getting made into a challenge on a NASCAR video game.
Right? And if these two in first and second start battling a little too hard, Jay Bass is right there and he's catching them too. That gap is going to be down to half a second.
Absolutely. Jay would love nothing more than for these two to get tangled up. I mean, teammate or not, sorry, buddy, I want that win.
For sure, and they're going to be coming up on Anthony here, going through the S's. Let's see if he can get out of the way in time. It's going to be tight. It's going to be super tight. That is
tight.
not
It looks like
what
he's
the
holding pretty. He's holding pretty tight to that line. Jay Bass gets past him. It looks like he's holding his line pretty well there. Again,
yeah, good
great
job
work.
on him.
Want to give huge shout outs to everybody that manages to do that. Another incident in the back, Dade Grajewski. Something's happened to Dade. But again, I mean, we got 4 to go. It's really hard to want to peel your eyes away from how tight this gap is closing. He's about to gain another 1/10 of a second here. And I can only imagine if Dustin gets to that bus stop. Oh, he shook a little loose. He's going to lose a little bit of time there, but as they're coming up on Charles Broderick, is he going to be able to get out of the way?
Well, not to interrupt you here, but there is a really good battle going on, and that is for 6th through, it looks like, 10th. Those 4 cars are wrapped under a blanket right now. 5 cars, sorry. They are under a blanket right now, almost 2 by 2 by 2. Oh, man.
Charles manages to get them back through.
Hairy.
And which position are we talking here?
6th through 10th.
6 through 10. Oh, Brady Powers just coming across almost at the nose of Anthony Cangelosi. He came in kind of tight there. Anthony was pretty much all the way off the road as he could be.
Yeah, this battle is going to be crazy for the lead and
Austin
for that
Holbrook
top
and
6.
Austin Holbrook, Jackson Samsel really just duking it out back here. Adam Boyle's not giving... Oh! A little bit of a door touch. It almost looked like Austin Holbrook makes the overtake. Is Jackson Samsel going to make that that charge back up, take it back from him? We're going to have to see... Whoa, look at the gap! Dustin Bali! Dustin Bali!
He is on his bumper going through that bus stop.
Dustin
and that
Bali
is
has closed this gap. What an incredible race.
That is a tight spot to be on someone's bumper. This has been a great battle, and let's see if Jacob can hold on to it with a strategy call. I mean, these 3 were obviously going to be the class. But, man.
So let's see. Oh, Dustin!
Oh, what a save!
He holds it. He holds it steady. I tell you what, if that was me in the car, that was my night. So, very incredible. All that time lost. Can he charge it back up with only 2 laps to go here at Watkins Glen? Jacob Bradley is running away with it right now. That pit strategy seems to have paid off, and it might be bringing in the first win. Not the first podium, as Brady Powers has had some amazing finishes so far, but the first win for Mach 1 Racing, and really set these guys apart. I mean, only 2 people on a team, and they're already making big, big moves in the team points game.
Well, you saw how they worked together on that start. Brady Powers was able to hold off those behind him and let Jake run away a good amount, like 2 seconds, I think it was. And, he makes a little mistake to the bus stop, but Dustin Bali, you know, he has it locked down through there. He's going to have to not... He's going to have to not make a mistake through those last 2 corners like he did last run, and he's going to be there coming to the white flag. This is going to get intense. Jay is just going to be watching in the background, hoping something happens in that catbird seat.
It makes you wonder, is Jacob going to be able to... I mean, he's got a pretty comfortable lead. If he can just hold himself and not send it too much, look at how loose these 2 cars behind him are getting. But if Jacob can manage to hold it off, I mean...
He's dancing. He's there, really, white flag.
He just has to end up, as we are coming to the white flag, 1 to go here at the paintinthegrass.com, 150 at Watkins Glen. Jacob just needs to keep himself from overdriving anything at this point, getting too worried about the cars behind him. He's got this. I mean, by all accounts, it's a race against the clock for Dustin to make the catch. I mean, he's not going to be able to have any support, but if Jacob makes a mistake here, getting too worried about the car on his bumper, that could make the difference.
Oh, he's loose. He's sliding a little bit, and here comes the bus stop. This is going to be Dustin's best part of the track, and last time it was at 6/10, Dustin was right there at the end of the lap, and he made a little mistake at the end. He's there.
And we're already closed the gap?
They are
Look
going
at
to
him
be
coming
side
around the
by side
carousel.
doing the
He's
same
in
thing.
his rear quarter panel. He is ready to get, coming out for the
Oh,
pass.
he slides
It's
up in front of him,
loose.
takes a block away.
It's not going to be enough.
To the grass.
It's
Oh,
not going to
man,
be
Jacob's
enough.
gonna be holding up. He's going to be dancing for dear life going through there, and he's going
Dustin
to be
really
sideways.
sends it sideways. Oh my God! Dustin Boley on the inside. It's tight. Oh, they're spinning. Oh no, Jay Bast. Jay Bast. Jay Bast is making the pass.
And he's going to win it.
Jay Bast is going to win at Watkins Glen.
Jay Bast in the catbird seat is going to win at Watkins Glen. What a finish!
Wow, what an incredible finish. It looks like Jacob Bradley managed to recover a little bit faster than Dustin Boley there, followed by Logan Monteith and Brady Powers. Wow.
I was listening to the race chat, and Dustin told Jacob to go. He said go. That was my fault. I totally messed it up. So definitely some sportsmanship from Dustin.
Absolutely.
But you got to think, man, Jacob is probably so upset. He had
Absolutely.
he had the win. He held on to it. Great strategy. Unfortunate, but also it looks like who was it? It was Michael Boyles that dropped out due to packet loss late in the race.
Oh wow, that's really unfortunate. A lot of guys who were running top, Adam Boyles too, had to have, huh?
No, Adam Boyle stayed on.
Adam Boyle stayed on, but he finished behind him?
Oh, no, they both lost it. Oh, you're right. They both lost. Wow, they both lost.
Well, that makes sense. They are in the same house, I believe. So if one of them had some issues, the other one did too. But there we are. We cannot undercount. I mean, Jacob Bradley's even going to have to admit, Jay Bast had this race in his hand almost the entire time. And while it is unfortunate, we do, it's really sympathetic to Jacob Bradley. We were talking, I even said it was a foregone conclusion he had this thing won. I mean, that's just how hard racing can get, unfortunately. But a second place finish and his teammate in the 5th position, that is an amazing finish for Mach 5 Racing. And here we go. The celebration begins for Jay Bast, our 4th different victor here in the season 2.
You may say that Jacob had this race won, but you got to think, man, racing is racing, and even if you're the faster car, you don't always win it sometimes. And Jay definitely was in the catbird seat, like I said during the broadcast, and I bet you he had a feeling that something was going to happen, especially that last lap, because it looked like he laid back a little bit, allowing himself some room.
And another important thing to talk about again is that, like we said, I mean, this isn't somebody, Dustin Boley is not somebody you have to worry about on track. He is clean, he gives room, he is just a hard fighter, hard racer. Him and Steve Loving are very much in the same category there. They do not do it dirty. So if Dustin got in tight there and managed to knock Jacob, I mean, you saw how Dustin felt about it. He wasn't happy with his own result and told Jacob to run ahead of him, secure that second place. So, once again, an unfortunate finish to that, but I think it's time we start talking to some people. I mean,
I agree.
Who had some interesting events in this one? I mean, before we get into the podium. We're going right to the podium.
I think, you know what? Let's take a look at... You want to bring in Jackson again?
Let's bring in Jackson one more time. I think Jackson had an incredible run, finishing 8th. I think Jackson's finished top 10 consistently, at least these past 3 races, hasn't he? I think every race almost.
Yeah, almost every single race. So let's get him up in here before we get those top 3 boys.
And as we look also, the 2 here parked at the line together, Jay Bass, Jacob Bradley. I mean, truthfully, if you're going to say it, these are our 2 winners here tonight.
For sure, but here we got Jackson up in the booth, man. You got us part 2?
I gotcha.
All right. Well, I mean, you finished 8th. Probably not what you were looking for, not the speed that you had tonight, but still a top 10, and you're running on a very consistent season. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm frustrated because going into the carousel of the final lap, I had caught up about caught up about 2.5 seconds on Brady. Tried to give him a little bumper, a nice bumper, and it ended up spinning me. So I lost 2 spots, and so I should have deserved a 6th if I would have just held my ground, but I got too greedy and wanted the top 5. But either way, it's a good finish, and it's a good result for what I want in this going further on in the season here. So.
Yeah, for sure, man, and I understand you're bummed out, but I mean, we gave you praise all night, so keep that, pin it up, and use it to your advantage next week, man. Especially going into Chicago too in a couple weeks. I feel like you're gonna do even better than you think. So
Yeah.
proud of you. We all are. As a team owner, I'm proud of you, and you gave us a good result, man. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that was Jackson Samsel. I mean, top
Yeah,
8, very
absolutely.
solid, man. He's just such a slept-on driver.
Absolutely, and I think we need to take a moment here and pull in Brady Powers at this point. Let's talk about that. His run at the end there, the pit strategy they had, and that drive and how he feels about how the finish played out.
I like it. Let's bring him in right now. All right, Brady, you got us up in the booth?
Yes, sir.
All right, top 5 run. I know Michael dropped out due to connection, but you were up there all night, up inside that top 10. So it looked like you had a strategy call after the competition caution came out. You stayed out, and it looks like you held up some of the boys behind your teammate Jacob. Was that intentional, or were you guys talking about it, or was it just so how it went?
It wasn't really intentional. It just kind of how it played out. I was hoping that once I get that new set of tires, I'd be a lot faster. But I also thought about I need to save these tires for the rest of the race. And so I kind of like, you can see that I just kind of like let people by sometimes. Sometimes I would try to battle them. But I had just, honestly, I have bad luck at Watkins Glen. So I just wanted to keep it safe, play it cool. I gave Jacob a good lead, but that wasn't the intention at all. It's kind of worked out like that.
Well, I mean, a top 5 for you. You two together have been a great duo. You guys are definitely not even just for the driver championship, but also for the team championship as well. You guys are solid. So good job, man. I'm very happy to see that finish for you. You guys both deserve it, even though I don't know if you saw what happened at the end. What was your take on it with the leader?
Um, it was definitely an interesting call, but it's awesome that he let him get the spot back. Jacob, I heard heard some yelling in the Discord, but honestly, at the end of the day, he gave him back the spot. There's nothing much you can ask for.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard racing the whole race. They were nose to tail the whole time, but still got to be bummed out for that one. But I mean, like I said, you two as a team, you guys have been incredible.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we work hard together and we always practice. You'll see us in Discord all the time together. So
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. You guys are putting in work. I know you and Jacob are probably going to snag a win this season. If you guys don't, it would surprise me. So I'm looking
with
forward to seeing you guys
me,
here again, but on the top step.
yeah, with me and Jacob's luck, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't catch a win, but hopefully we will. He's good at Darlington, so I'd watch out for him next week.
All right. Well, we're watching out for both of you guys. You guys are both real fast. So anybody you want to thank before you go?
I know my dad is watching. Appreciate you, Mr. Powers. Other than that, that's all good.
All right. Sounds good. Let me bring you on back to your teammate here, and
Thank
let's
you,
start
sir.
talking to that podium.
Yes, indeed. Let's go ahead and bring in Dustin Bawley.
Oh, I brought him into the wrong chat. Ref didn't see it. Don't worry about it. All right, Dustin, you got us up in the booth.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Well, you ran a flawless race until that last corner.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna say the flawless is being generous.
then otherwise, those 23 and 99% of the laps were very, very interesting. You ran a great race. What happened there, though, in that last corner?
Yeah, so credit to Jacob. I think he deserved the win, and so I'm sorry that he was not able to, or that because of me he did not win. I hope that the second as a consolation gives me a little bit of goodwill. But he went wide at 6, I believe, and I saw an opportunity, and I said, I'm not going to run into him because he could have gone defensive there at the end. But he pulled out to the left-hand side of the track, and I said, okay, this is my chance. He's going to see me coming, so he can either, squeeze me or he can, let me by. So, unfortunately, I put a right front, I think, on the inside curb and went up a little bit, probably about a quarter of a car, a third of a car, and that was enough to just get us turned around there. But yeah, he ran a great race. He had the better strategy. I took a shot and missed, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, that's racing. We all know that you're a very, very good road racer, as well as Jacob, it seems, and also Jay Bass. And you guys were nose to tail. You guys in the top 3, that was, for almost the whole race. Obviously, the caution, the midway caution, kind of put a damper on that. But as soon as you guys got back out to racing, it was just you three, 1, 2, 3 once again. So going into next road race, what are you expecting?
I would imagine a lot of the same. Jay and I practiced a lot for this race. I mean, you know, we were pretty close on time, so there kind of wasn't much between us. I let Jay by at the beginning of the part of the race so that he could lead a couple laps and get those points. And then I said, you know, when the time comes and we need to switch Ruski, let's do it. And so I think with like what 4 or 5 to go, he let me by to chase Jacob. So I think team strategy wise, it worked great. I anticipate that the Chicago race should produce similar fireworks.
Definitely, but I mean, in the end results too, like you're talking about the team, that's a off the wall 1 and 3, which isn't bad at all. You guys definitely could have been 1-2, but still, that's 2 wins in a row. No, it's not. Just kidding. I lied. I wasn't here last week or the last race week, but
2 out of 4.
either way, yeah, 2 out of 4 wins. You guys have definitely taken possibly a hold of the points championship. So, got to be looking up in some aspects of things, right?
Yeah, no, I think for you know I think we performed maybe to expectations. I think Jay definitely outperformed expectations. He got real quick there. I think a couple days before the race, like you know he was kind of further back with the times, and then in the last couple days was able to close that gap and drove a great race, right? I mean, if he was gonna you know make that move on Jacob on his own, I was just gonna let him have it, right? But then he said I'm starting to fade a little bit. So he let me by and let me do my thing. But yeah, great win for Off the Wall Racing. I hope you know Rain didn't have too many heart attacks during the broadcast. I know that the 69 spun there, and then you know there was some dicey moments in the race. But yeah, great team showing. I want to thank our sponsors. So Paint the Wall for this race. Paint the Grass. Paint the Grass for sponsoring the race. M99 GRAFX for doing the sponsoring the series. You guys for putting on, you know, I'm sure another amazing broadcast. I can't wait to watch it. And then I want to give a special shout out to my family who've been supporting me each and one of these races. My wife Rebecca and my parents Tom and Deb. Yeah, it was good to get this one in. And I would have preferred a win, but I can't be disappointed with third. So we'll hope that the stewards are not too stiff on me. I know that my move was probably, you know, I gotta apologize to Jacob, you know, because obviously he deserved the win and should have had the win. So yeah, we'll move on to Darlington.
Yeah, that sounds about right, man. But I mean, it's racing. Everything happens. Something is going to go wrong at some point, and you guys ran every single lap really well together. So, just a freak accident. It happens. But thank you for coming in here, and good job on your performance, man. No matter if you should have won it, should have finished second. No matter what, you did a great job.
Appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you.
That was Dustin Bally, the road course, it seems, road course ringer. But we're going to bring in Jacob right now. All right, Jacob, you got us up in here?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, unfortunate it ended up like that. Still in second place, but how you feeling?
A little bit bummed that wasn't a win. I felt like, oh yeah, I put together a good strategy there and brought my teammate along with me. And ultimately I had 3 seconds on him and I let him get to me. Those a little bit older tires, I kind of underestimated how much the wear would play a factor. And I let him get to me, so I knew he was going to do something.
Yeah, I mean, he was telling us that he felt super bad and it was a total accident, which it seemed like from the broadcast. I kind of saw it happening, but otherwise, you guys had some great racing together. Can you look up at those aspects of things where A, you finished second, and B, you had a great race overall and had some good battles?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great run overall. I didn't think I was going to be able to beat them on raw pace, so to be able to get better than third is always good, and I did lead quite a few laps there. Because the finish really bummed me out, but sure, it was good points today, and strategy really did work out in my favor.
Definitely, and even then, man, you were really, really fast in qualifying, so you are definitely no slouch on these road courses, and I think we're all excited for Chicago too. You guys put on one of the best races so far this season, and that's saying a lot too because Atlanta was really good, and Daytona as well. So you guys did a great job, and thank you for coming out. But is there anything you're looking forward to next week at Darlington?
Yeah, I have plenty to look forward to. I'm really good at Darlington. Always love going there. So really glad that we're gonna be having that throwback weekend there. Hopefully we can put together a win.
Yeah, man. Well, you and Mach 1, you two together, you guys are the only 2-car team in here, but you guys are laying a beat down. If you guys had all 4 spots filled, you guys would probably be running away with this team championship right now.
Yeah, we are definitely a pretty good team. We worked out on the strategy, and we always seem to put ourselves in good positions there for the final run. We just gotta working on finishing out these races.
Yeah, definitely. Well, is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go on your way?
Yeah, I want to thank my parents for watching the broadcast. Always glad for that they can watch, and I want to thank my teammate Brady. He held up the field a little bit for me. It wasn't really his intentions, but he did help me quite a bit.
All right. Well, thank you for hopping in here, and good run tonight, man. And I definitely expect you to be at the top step at some point, you and Brady both.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Now, lastly, let's get your
I
boy
think
in
it's
here.
time. We got to hear from the winner, Jay Bass. Let's hear from him.
Jay, you
Woo!
got us? Yes, he does. All right, Jay. So you ran a very, very good race. Never outside the top 3 except for the pit. Obviously, I think you were at 4th at one point. But other than green flag laps, you were never outside the top 3. Led a couple laps. How were you feeling that whole race?
I am over the moon. I can't even begin to. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know. That was the most amazing race. I want to say thank you to Dustin. Thank you to Off the Wall Racing. Thank you to Rain. This was. I really practiced like hell for this race, and I didn't have the outright pace to win it, as you could see by the gap between myself and Dustin and Brady over there. But wow, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much, and I'm so proud of this win. This was amazing.
Well, not to show any biasship here, and obviously your team owner's in here, and I know he was screaming, but I
Hell
will
yeah.
say too, I was screaming for you too, man. I'm very excited to see you get that win. I knew that you were going to be up there at some point, somehow, some way, but I mean, 4 races, 4 winners, and you are now most likely going to be in the championship hunt.
Yeah,
That put any pressure on you?
that certainly moves me up a few spots, definitely. And you know, I'm not an oval guy, so this was like the only race this season that I was expecting to have a good result, and I'm so glad that we pulled out the win. And yeah, again, thank you to everybody on the team, Off the Wall Racing. Thanks again to Rain for the beautiful paint that you can see crossing the line there. And yeah, I just thank you so much. This is so awesome.
Well, I got one more question for you. I was saying in the booth that you're in the catbird seat, and that the last lap, it looked like you laid back just a tiny bit. Was I right with that? Were you just waiting for something to happen between those two? Or
Yeah, I'd love to
what
say that gap was strategic, but it was just those two guys they were just faster than me. Like, that's all it was. And
Hey,
but yeah,
you didn't
once
have to
that
out
collision
yourself.
happened, I was just looking for the gap, and I'm so glad I found it.
Well, I mean, like I said, you didn't have to out yourself like that. You could have totally said, "Yeah, I'm just a big brain IQ man through here," and I knew that was gonna happen. But either way, set it up perfectly, man. Catbird seat, always gonna be nice to win one, even if you didn't feel like you had it on race pace. Sometimes the fastest car never wins, right?
Yeah, I mean, strategy is a call there too. So, I mean, thanks again, everybody. This was a wonderful race, and there's a hell of a lot of talent out there. That was no easy feat, but yeah, thanks again.
Of course, man. Well, like I said, we're gonna see you probably in the podium at least at Chicago, and from there on out, I'm sure that you're gonna get better. Do you have any thoughts about Darlington going into next week, coming off a race win?
I mean, Darlington's gonna be a different story. You know, it's one of those weird shaped ovals. So we're taking it one race at a time.
All right, man. Well, go ahead and go celebrate. And Rain, what'd you think about today's race?
Well, look, I'm gonna get something right off the bat because I think it's really important. You know, we show our bias, of course we do, because you know, as team owners, you get really excited. We have the unique opportunity of being in the booth, being able to call these races, but we're also invested. But you know, I want to say first off, Jacob Bradley, far and away, you could hear it during the broadcast, pulling for him the whole time, no matter what. Incredible driver. Knew he was going to be an incredible threat all along, him and Brady Powers. And like I said, I even said for my foregone conclusion, I thought Jacob Bradley just had it. I didn't think Dustin was going to be able to even get close enough to send it. So all the credit and all of the respect to Jacob Bradley. for what he has done in this race, and Mach 1 Racing in general for being such a top-tier team. But boy, oh boy, can you not at all understand the excitement I am feeling at this point as owner of Off the Wall Racing to have two of my guys taking home two very different races this season in Dustin Bally at Atlanta, and here Jay Bast getting his well-earned win as well, just in terms of the effort he's put in and how well he was doing in the practices, to come through and win here at Watkins Glen. I'm so happy for him. I'm so proud of the work this team put in. I'm proud of Dustin for, giving Jacob, while I did tell him 1-2, that was the commandment. I'm giving him a pass on this one for letting Jacob by, because that was definitely the right thing to do in that scenario. That was good sportsmanship to let him get those extra points and to make up that ground. But I mean, like I said, for Jay, this wasn't some fluke. He was running first place regularly throughout this entire thing. He's got, we're going to have to take a look at how many laps led each person has, but he was definitely up there for a large majority of it. So this was no accident. He didn't get just lucky. He stayed competitive the entire way through and capitalized on a mistake in the final turn there. As unfortunately is just the case with racing, the final turn on the last lap, something's probably going to happen.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like we both said, we play biases every once in a while. I think it's for the meme. I do think it's just because of the meme, but also we love our teammates. But at the same time, I was pulling for Jacob Bradley as well, and I'm pulling for your guys too, because I do like every single one of you guys here that are now tuned into this broadcast, watching us do a sob story about how we love everybody. But there's so much talent in here, and there's so many genuinely good people that they'll help anybody out whenever they can, even if they're not on the same team. They'll give people setups that aren't on the same team, and everyone just wants to see each other improve. So
Absolutely.
Everybody here that finished inside the top 10, it's well deserved because they drove their butts off. And anybody that had a good finish but something happened to them later on, or whether they didn't finish as good as they wanted to, or they just finished near the back, everybody deserves some sort of credit because everyone drove their butts off this race, and this is not an easy track nor a car.
Not at all. This was definitely hard fought for everybody involved. That top 5, as we come out here, take a look at it, Jay Bast, Off the Wall Racing, of course, taking the win. Jacob Bradley and Mach 1 Racing followed up. Dustin Bally, Off the Wall Racing. Logan Monteith, I had him in my top 5 all along, so I guess I probably should have put money on it with Evil Empire Motorsports and Brady Powers and Mach 1 Racing really, really closing out that top 5. Followed closely by, I say it's a surprise, but it should be no surprise, Steve Loving closing in 6th, just outside of that top 5, really only 2-second... no, not even a 2-second gap. It was about 0.4 of a second gap between him and 5th. He charged up from being just outside the top 10 to getting himself to where he finished. I definitely thought he would finish a little bit higher. He wasn't too far off from proving me right. It looks like if he'd had one more lap, he might have got Brady Powers. Blake Hoppy, Evil Empire Motorsports, Jackson Samsel with Backmarkers Racing, again pulling in another top 10. You can only really be super happy on that. Michael Gudger with Vintage Racing, and then Robert Bros with Vintage Racing, all rounding out that top 10. And as we take a look here, we don't currently have the points set up correctly. The overlay system was being a bit annoying with me here, but we have a fantastic spreadsheet I'm happy to flash on screen at this point. And as you can see here, looks like the updated spreadsheet says that Logan Monteith is still holding first place in points, followed by Dustin Bally with only 4 points off with 126. Brady Powers, Steve Loving, and Blake Hoppy rounding out that top 5. Jay Bass moves himself up to 9th at this point. Jackson Samsel holding on to 10th. And as long as he keeps getting good finishes in those top 10s, I imagine he's going to find himself continuing to find his way up there throughout the entire way. And of course, we need to take a look and see what those team stats have come out to at this point, and see who we have leading on this front.
Before you do that, we got somebody that just stumbled into the booth, and somebody possibly deserves a driver of the day, Mr. Nick Serif.
Hey!
So this guy right here not only just kicked down our booth door, hopping into the broadcasting booth, Well, I say kick, even though he has a bum knee. So, Nick, explain what happened, and then I will give you that credit that you deserve. Explain what happened to yourself.
Well, typical guy move. You get injured and just rub some dirt on it, you'll be all right. And I kind of been doing that the past couple months, and ended up getting an infection and a cyst I had on my knee. So I'm going in tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time to get it cut open and drained and have a good time.
Wow.
Well, with that, you finished 14th inside the top 14 on the lead lap, mind you, and you led a lap. So, what was it like on a road course, nonetheless, too?
I know road courses are definitely my kryptonite for sure. I know Tyler can attest to that, seeing me race a super late model here. But no, it was good. My main goal, I was just actually talking to my teammate Sean, was to just finish the laps and just try to stay out of trouble and finish on the lead lap. If I finished dead last on a lead lap, I didn't care. I just wanted to make it through, suffer through the pain, and try and pull a KB from 2015 or whatever it was when he came back and won the championship with a broken leg at a road course. But it didn't happen. But still happy with the run, and I'll take a 14th all day long right now. Anything to help the team owner and the team points out, I'll take it.
I like it, man. Well, even if the fact that you showed up, mind you, I am
Absolutely.
utterly A, impressed, 2, proud to be your team owner, and 3, the fact that you finished on the lead lap, pretty impressive, man. So I'm proud of you. Thank you for kicking down the door. I definitely should have brought you in here, but hey, even though you got a bum knee, man, still making some big entrances, right?
Oh yeah, I gotta show up for backmarkers, man. I'll race with. What would Rowdy Burns say? I've raced with broken legs, busted eyes, all kinds. I'll race. I don't care how hurt I am. I'll make it happen some way.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like it, man. Well, before you go, is there anybody that you do want to thank?
I want to obviously thank you for letting me be on the team, and thank you guys for putting on this league and all the sponsors, M99 GRAFX, all the guys that sponsor the races. Definitely got to thank my wife for letting me race injured, because she was definitely not happy about it. But I got yelled at the last time I was on interview, and I didn't thank my mom, so I'm gonna have to thank my mom on this one.
Make sure
But
you send
no.
this to her.
Oh, I already texted her the link. She said she's gonna watch it tomorrow while I'm having my surgery. She's gonna watch it in her office, her and all the ladies in the office. So it's gonna be a good one.
Well, man, thank you for hopping in here. Good job tonight. And, well, Nick, man, he is such a character. Everybody loved him. He's awesome. But,
Yeah.
wow, what a
Well-deserved
crazy race
praise.
overall.
Absolutely, and I do want to take a moment here because there's something really impressive here. I don't know if you've gotten to take a look at the points layout at this point in time, but have you seen it yet for the teams?
I have not.
Well, I have something really interesting to point out. We have a tie for first with 425 points. Vintage Racing and Evil Empire Motorsports are dead tied for first place right now.
Check that out. This
what
is crazy.
I know. What an incredible thing to see. I mean, how often do you end up seeing a team points tie that's that, I mean, sure, it's early on, but that just shows how well those competitors on both of those teams are finishing regularly to get them into that high of a position. I mean, and not to mention, I mean, you look at it and they've cranked 100 points plus for at least 3 races so far out of the 4, both of them. So, I mean, those are guys that are firing on all cylinders at this point. What an incredible, incredible thing to see. And they're followed not too far off by Impact Racing at 408 points. And finally, moving themselves up out of like 6th or something, Off the Wall Racing coming in with 393 points. Mwah, love to see that. And not too far behind Backmarkers Racing, 368 points. I imagine, like I said, with the consistency of Jackson Samsel, Nick Serif, once he's getting better, he's back off the shelf and is able to make some good starts for you guys. You're going to end up seeing, obviously, a lot more points coming off of this. Maybe a road course wasn't the greatest for everybody, but like I said, Jackson's been finishing inside the top 10, so he's going to be pulling in consistency no matter what. But again, impressive here. Mach 1 Racing, just 2 guys. All of these teams we're talking about have 4 drivers. Mach 1 Racing is 2 guys, and they are in 6th place right now with 347 points. And they are regularly doing better. They would be a lot higher if it wasn't for the fact that, unfortunately, last week, Jacob Bradley was not able to compete in the race, and it was, I believe it was only Brady Powers who ended up racing last week. I'll have to double check myself on that one. But followed up by a Dumpster Fire Racing, 276 points, and Racers Anonymous Motorsports, 204 points. I mean, this is tight. This is a tight, race here. It's anybody's game still. We still have, what is it, like 9 more races to go?
Yeah, we have 9 more after today, and the top 6 are within 100 points of each other, and that is only like a race or 2 max. So some people have some bad days. Other teams are going to capitalize on it most likely. And I mean, last season we had a really great team battle. So this season I'm looking forward to no less than that.
Absolutely. And here we go once again, rounding out. Big congratulations to our winner, Jay Bast, and the following, Jacob Bradley and Dustin Bawley rounding out that podium finish. And once again, as always, throw a subscribe here on Extreme Sim TV so you make sure to see not only our broadcasts, but all of the amazing broadcasts that get put on here by Matthew Johnson, as well as, our own league, Backmarkers Racing League, getting to broadcast here. And of course, next week, you got to join us on Thursday, the 12th, at the Throwback 133 presented by HomeSmart Evergreen Realty at Darlington Raceway. This is our throwback race. You're going to see a lot of cool liveries, a lot of cool schemes. I think pretty much everybody has one by now. And it has been a pretty coordinated effort to get everybody something fun to run. So it is not going to be something you want to miss. The theme is 90s throwback. So if you out there, you remember the 90s, you were functioning and alive during the 90s, or maybe that was just your favorite thing to go back and watch, you're going to see some really familiar paints out there, maybe some ones you don't really notice, and a lot of really interesting, obscure, paint schemes that are going to show up out here that are going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a great time. You're going to want to show up. Be here next Thursday. Same start time as always. It is 7-8 Eastern. So, take a look. Make sure you set your clocks accordingly. We'll get a scheduled stream set up so that you can put a notification on it. That way when it goes live, you aren't missing out. Races always start at about 8:20 or 9:20 Eastern time. So, make sure you're there. And once again, just want to take this moment to say thank you to our race sponsor this week at Watkins Glen. This was the PaintTheGrass.com 150. Painting the Grass is a lawn service to keep your grass green any time of the year in Southern California. It's non-toxic and pet-friendly and will make your home stand out above the rest. To find out more, please do visit www.paintinthegrass.com, www.paintinthegrass.com. I just realized I said that kind of fast there. Maybe that wasn't intentional the way they did that now that I think about it. Once again, thank you to paintinthegrass.com. If you're out in Southern California or anywhere in California, I imagine they probably service a good bit. And you want to get your lawn looking good as this Watkins Glen lawn starts looking in some places. Make sure to give them, you go to that website, they got a phone number, give them a call. Another big thank you to our series sponsor here for the ARCA series with Backmarkers, M99 GRAFX. Our very own Logan Monteith finished 4th this race. He makes incredible liveries and schemes. You can hit him up on his Instagram. It is linked down below in the description here to get any kind of racing scheme you may want to get made for yourself. And of course, Extreme Sim TV, our broadcast partner, who is consistently allowing us every week to put on these shows and is also broadcasting the other series that Backmarkers puts on. It's not just ARCA. We also have a late model series. What else do we have? We have the Dirt Street Stocks at this point as well.
Yeah, and then going forward, in a couple of weeks, we'll start talking about that truck series too. So everybody keep on your toes, and other than that, you nailed it, man. Also, real quick before we do head on out of here, shout out to the BMR version of Clint Boyer, Tyler DeTalent, he was yelling at me. He was texting me saying, give me a shout out. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight, but hey, man, if you're still watching right now, big shout out to you. I expect to see you there next week, and I hope that you could find some sort of Clint Boyer 90s car to run.
Oh, speaking of that, that's such a funny incident. We still have not had anybody guess it, but Michael Gudger, I have worked personally with him on putting together a very obscure and hilarious reference to a 90s scheme that nobody has managed to figure out what it is yet. So you guys will have to tune in to see what it is as we reveal that scheme, and maybe we'll see if anybody manages to figure it out in the week leading up to it. But otherwise, like we said, this has been Watkins Glen here with the paintandthegrass.com 150. Is there anything else you want to say here, Tyler?
No, just thank you guys for watching if you guys tuned in, and thank you to our drivers for putting on a great show today, clean show. So thank you everybody, and hope to see you there next week. It's going to be a crazy show at Darlington, going to be a blast of the past to the 90s, but yeah, hopefully see you guys there next week, and our driver's going to put on a great show there.
Absolutely, and once again, this has been your broadcast booth, Rain Braun, alongside broadcast colleague Tyler Barnett. And once again, join us next week for Darlington. We will see you next Thursday. Thank you very much for joining in. We hope to see you then. Bye-bye.